Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Nishit Kumar and with me is R.S. Raghu with the evening news. The headlines. Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad says protests by opposition leaders to score political mileage expose their double standards. Efforts are on to attract investments from across the globe to improve country's infrastructure, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Number of active COVID-19 cases declines to less than 4 lakh after 140 days. Serum Institute of India applies for emergency approval of Made in India COVID vaccine. Over 50% voter turnout recorded in fourth phase of District Development Council elections in Jammu and Kashmir. And in cricket, India to take on hosts Australia in the third and final 2020 match in Sydney tomorrow. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad has said that Congress and other non-BJP parties join any protest in the country for the sake of opposing government's move. He said the actions of the opposition parties reflect their dire attempts to save their existence. Mr. Prasad was briefing media in New Delhi today.
Their entire approach is of shameful double standards. They are seeking to confuse based upon wrong facts. और दूसरी बात, जो काम आपने करने की कोशिश की, जो आपने पूरा नहीं किया, जिसको आप सही मानते थे, आज व्यापक चर्चा के बाद हम उसको आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं तो आप विरोध कर रहे हैं, सिर्फ अपना राजनीतिक अस्तित्व बचाने के लिए। हम उनके इन पूरी धारणा का पूरा विरोध करते हैं, उसकी भर्त्सना करते हैं और देश का किसान सच्चाई को समझता है।
Taking a dig at Congress for opposing the new farm laws, the senior BJP leader said the Congress party had clearly mentioned about amending the farm laws in the 2019 election manifesto. It said protests just in order to score political mileage by Congress, NCP, Samajwadi Party and other opposition parties expose their duplicity and double standards. Mr. Prasad said NCP leader Sharad Pawar advocated for amendment in farm laws in 2005 and is opposing the reforms today only to settle political scores.
आदरणीय शरद पवार जी, आप तो बड़े अनुभवी नेता हैं, कई बार मुख्यमंत्री रहे हैं, कई बार मंत्री रहे हैं केंद्र में। रिफॉर्म के आप तो नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार से भी अधिक दावा करते रहे हैं और आज आप भी खड़े हो गए। तो इससे अगर शुद्ध राजनीतिक स्वार्थ की राजनीति अपना अस्तित्व बचाने के लिए कहा जाए तो अनुचित होगा क्या? आई एम गिविंग यू प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंट्री एविडेंस टू शो द अटर डुप्लिसिटी ऑफ द अपोजिशन पार्टीज।
The minister said misinformation is being spread among the farmers that Narendra Modi government will eliminate farmers by making contracts with large corporates. He pointed out that contract farming was also recommended during the UPA government. He added that several state governments have implemented contract farming in their states and many of these states were Congress-ruled states. Mr. Prasad stressed that under the provisions of contract farming, farmers' land can neither be leased nor sold nor mortgaged. He said there will be no obligation related to their land and the contract will be related to sale of produce only.
कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के बारे में अगर कोई सोचते हैं किसान तो उनकी जमीन न तो बिकेगी, न बंधक होगी, न लीज पर ली जाएगी। The farmer's land shall neither be on lease nor will be sold nor mortgaged. उनके जमीन पर कोई देनदारी नहीं बनेगी, वो बनेगी तो फसल पर जो कंपनियां आएंगी। बल्कि मैं पढ़ ही देना चाहता हूं, सेक्शन 8 sponsor prohibited from acquiring ownership right or making permanent modification on farmers' land premises.
The minister said extensive consultations, trainings and outreach programs were conducted on the agricultural laws with stakeholders. A total of 1,37,000 webinars and trainings were conducted since June this year, where 92.42 lakh farmers participated. He stated that 318 lakh tons of paddy worth 60,000 crore rupees have been procured by November. He emphasized that out of this, 202 lakh ton procurement has happened only from Punjab.
Farmers have welcomed the implementation of new farm laws as it has resulted in raising their income and liberating them from the clutches of middlemen. Kamal Patel of Badhav village in Devas district of Madhya Pradesh has said that the new farm law has helped him sell his produce to private companies which gave better price.
मैं कमल पटेल, ग्राम बदावा, तहसील सतवाल, जिला देवास, मध्य प्रदेश। नए बिल आने के कारण अच्छी मदद मिली है, किसानों के लिए ये मददगार बिल है और इसके कारण दाम भी अच्छे ऊंचे मिल रहे हैं और अभी कुछ दिन पहले ही यहाँ ITC का हब खुला है।
Another farmer, Govind Singh Thakur, has said that the new farm law has helped him sell his produce to private companies which gave better price.
मेरा नाम गोविंद सिंह ठाकुर है। मैं बमौली डेंगवा ग्राम पंचायत का रहने वाला हूँ। एक छोटा किसान हूँ। इससे मोदी जी ने जो प्रावधान निकाला है, इससे ये फायदा है कि हम अपना जहाँ हमारा मन करेगा वहाँ बेच सकते हैं। जैसे यहाँ पे मंडी पे अभी बहुत ज्यादा आवक आ जाती है तो अपने मन का रेट फिक्स करने लगते हैं यहाँ के जो व्यापारी रहते हैं। इससे ये होगा जहाँ में हम फसल का उचित दाम मिलेगा हम वहाँ आसानी से इसको बेच सकते हैं। इसमें बहुत से प्रावधान है जो किसानों के लिए बहुत हितकारी है, इसलिए सबको पहले अच्छे समझे फिर इसका विरोध करें। ऐसा नहीं कि किसी के बहकावे में आए।
Paddy procurement for Kharif 2020-21 is progressing smoothly with purchase of over 344.86 lakh metric tons of paddy up to 6th of this month as against corresponding purchase of 282.66 lakh metric ton LMT last year. This is an increase of 22% over last year. Out of the total purchase of 344.86 LMT, Punjab alone has purchased 202.77 LMT till the close of procurement season in the state on 30th November, which is 58.79% of total procurement in the country. About 35.03 lakh farmers have already been benefited from the ongoing procurement operations with minimum support price value of 65,111.34 crore rupees.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that efforts are on to attract investments from all over the world to improve the country's infrastructure. Mr. Modi said over 100 lakh crore rupees will be spent under the National Infrastructure Pipeline project. He said work is also being done on the multi-modal connectivity infrastructure master plan. The Prime Minister was speaking after inaugurating construction work of metro project at Agra in Uttar Pradesh through video conference today. The Prime Minister said the government's focus is on making small cities the axis of self-reliant India, and the metro project at Agra reflects this intention. Mr. Modi said the metro project worth over 8,000 crore rupees will strengthen the mission related to the establishment of smart facilities in Agra.
आगरा में स्मार्ट सुविधाएं विकसित करने के लिए पहले ही लगभग 1,000 करोड़ रुपए के प्रोजेक्ट्स पर काम चल रहा है। पिछले साल जिस कमांड एंड कंट्रोल सेंटर का शिलान्यास करने का मुझे सौभाग्य मिला था, वो भी बनकर तैयार है। मुझे बताया गया है कि कोरोना के समय में ये सेंटर बहुत उपयोगी सिद्ध हुआ। अब 8,000 करोड़ रुपए से अधिक का ये मेट्रो प्रोजेक्ट आगरा में स्मार्ट सुविधाओं के निर्माण से जुड़े मिशन को और मजबूत करेगा।
On tourism sector, the Prime Minister said efforts are also being made to attract tourists through schemes like Swadesh Darshan and Prasad. Highlighting the economic importance of metro services, the Prime Minister said the metro will also help in the tourism sector of the ancient city. Mr. Modi asserted that due to the efforts of the government, India is now ranked at number 34 in Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index.
भारत अब ट्रैवल और टूरिज्म कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस इंडेक्स में 34वें नंबर पर आ गया है, जबकि 2013 में भारत इसी इंडेक्स में 65वें नंबर पर रुका पड़ा था। आज वहां से इतनी प्रगति हुई। मुझे उम्मीद है जैसे जैसे कोरोना की स्थिति सुधरती जा रही है, वैसे ही बहुत जल्द ही टूरिज्म सेक्टर की रौनक भी फिर से लौट आएगी।
The Prime Minister said that everyone is waiting for the corona vaccine and it is not going to take too long, but people should strictly adhere to the social distancing guidelines till it arrives. Union Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs Hardeep Singh Puri and Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, along with other dignitaries, were also present on the occasion. Speaking on the occasion, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said Agra Metro Rail project will increase the infrastructure of the state and provide better transportation for the general public.
इस मेट्रो कारपोरेशन के कार्य का शुभारंभ करने के साथ एक नए युग की ओर आगरा और आगरा से जुड़े हुए लोग जाएंगे। इस दृष्टि से क्योंकि आगरा में न केवल वर्तमान में 26 लाख की आबादी यहाँ पे निवास करती है, अपितु प्रतिवर्ष लाखों की संख्या में देशी विदेशी पर्यटक भी इस आगरा सिटी में आकर के पर्यटन की सुविधाओं का लाभ लेते हैं।
The Agra Metro project comprises two corridors with a total length of 29.4 kilometers and connects major tourist attractions like Taj Mahal, Agra Fort, Sikandra with railway stations and bus stands. The project will benefit the 26 lakh population of the city and will also cater to more than 60 lakh tourists who visit Agra every year. It will provide an environment-friendly mass rapid transit system to the historic city. The estimated cost of the project is 8,379 crore rupees and it will be completed in 5 years.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad says protests by opposition leaders to score political mileage expose their double standards. Efforts are on to attract investment from across the globe to improve country's infrastructure, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Number of active COVID-19 cases declines to less than 4 lakh after 140 days. Serum Institute of India applies for emergency approval of Made in India COVID vaccine. Over 50% voter turnout recorded in fourth phase of District Development Council elections in Jammu and Kashmir. And in cricket, India to take on hosts Australia in third and final 2020 match in Sydney tomorrow. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
To get accurate, reliable and wide coverage of news, tune into AIR News 24/7 and FM Gold and listen to the major bulletins at 8:30 a.m., 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. in English and 8 a.m., 2:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. in Hindi of half an hour each.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे।
India crossed another significant milestone in its fight against COVID as the number of active COVID-19 cases in the country declines to less than 4 lakh after 140 days. With a continuous reduction in the number of active corona cases, the active case load in the country stands at merely 4.10% with nearly 3,96,000 active cases. The national cumulative recovery rate has also further improved to 94.45% with recovery of nearly 91,40,000 people so far. In the last 24 hours, 32,981 new confirmed cases were reported, while 39,109 people recovered in the same time span. The Health Ministry informed that 391 fatalities were reported in the past 24 hours. Karnataka reported 998 new COVID cases today, and 1,601 affected people were discharged after recovery. There were 11 deaths reported in the state due to COVID. More from our Bengaluru correspondent.
In Karnataka, the case positivity rate remains at 1.30% and case fatality rate is 1.10%. Speaking in the Legislative Council today, the Health and Medical Education Minister, Dr. K. Sudhakar, informed that COVID vaccine are under third stage of clinical trials in India, and once approved for human use, the state is prepared to administer the vaccine. Over 2,24,000 vulnerable persons like corona warriors in government sector and 2,45,000 in private sector will get the vaccine on priority. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
A webinar on the status of nurses during COVID-19 in Maharashtra, Challenges and Solutions was held today. Co-organized by Pune's Sathi Institute, Nurses Federation and United Nurses Association, the webinar saw participation of State Health Minister Rajesh Tope, Deputy Chairman of Maharashtra Legislative Council Dr. Neelam Gorhe and Principal Secretary State Public Health Dr. Pradeep Vyas, among others. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
Addressing a webinar, Health Minister Rajesh Tope said the government will soon begin the process to fill up at least half of the 17,000 vacancies in the nursing department. Mr. Tope said the state is also expecting approval of 5,000 crore rupee funding from Asian Development Bank that will be used to upgrade healthcare facilities and bring innovative changes to state-run hospitals. The minister informed that 500 new ambulances will be added to service in the coming week, while efforts are also on to provide free blood bags to needy patients. Deputy Chairman of Maharashtra's Legislative Council, Dr. Neelam Gore, said the government is well aware of their problems and will take suitable measures. Nisha Rani, AIR News, Mumbai.
Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan today said India is in the forefront of developing COVID-19 vaccines. Speaking at the DFT-CII India-Portugal Technology Summit 2020, the minister said about 30 vaccines are in different stages of development in the country. He pointed out that 2 of them are in the most advanced stage of development: Covaxin, developed through ICMR Bharat Biotech collaboration, and Covishield from the Serum Institute of India. Both are in the phase 3 clinical trial stage. He added that the Indian Council of Medical Research is involved in their trial executions. India is also hosting clinical trials for all the major vaccine contenders. Serum Institute of India, the world's largest vaccine manufacturer, is conducting trials for the vaccine developed by Oxford University.
Zydus Cadila is also conducting phase 2 trial of an indigenous DNA vaccine. One of our pharma giants, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, will distribute the Russian vaccine in India after conducting final stage human trials and receiving regulatory approval.
Serum Institute of India, SII, has applied for emergency approval of Made in India COVID vaccine candidate Covishield. SII CEO Adar Poonawala has confirmed it and said it will save countless lives. He also thanked the Government of India and Prime Minister Narendra Modi for their invaluable support. SII, the world's largest vaccine producer by volume, had sought emergency use authorization in the country for AstraZeneca's PLC's COVID-19 vaccine candidate. The company applied to the Drugs Controller General of India, citing unmet medical needs due to the pandemic and in the interest of the public at large. The move comes close on the heels of Pfizer Inc. applying for a similar authorization of its coronavirus vaccine in India. United Kingdom is preparing to become the first country to roll out the COVID-19 vaccine tomorrow. As per the British government, the shots will be initially available at hospitals before distributing stocks to doctors' clinics. Britain gave emergency use approval for the vaccine developed by Pfizer and BioNTech last week. The National Health Service, NHS, is giving top priority to vaccinating the over 80s, frontline healthcare workers and care home staff and residents.
The News Services Division of All India Radio in its bilingual live phone-in program tonight will bring you a special discussion program on COVID-19. Dr. Ghanshyam Pangte, Professor of Medicine at Lady Hardinge Medical College, will participate in this discussion. This can be heard tonight on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1800-115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444 and post queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. The News Services Division brings glimpses of the year that was in our special series Year Ender 2020. COVID-19 pandemic has been at the biggest story of the year, and India has seen the fight back against the COVID-19 pandemic under the dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Speaking on the measures taken by the government, Corona Task Force head and Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul said early lockdown prevented spread of the disease.
Middle of March, it became apparent that the pandemic is spreading phenomenally, and we were almost on the path that other countries such as Europe has taken. So we, through lockdown, ensured that we deviated from that devastating path. We brought the intensity of the virus spread phenomenally low. We saved lives as a nation, and because we got time to prepare our health system, our facilities, our testing, our technologies, all this is now has stood the test of time, and we have been able to manage the pandemic effectively.
The government left no stone unturned to contain the pandemic since its outbreak in the country. Our correspondent takes a look at the measures taken by the government to tackle the challenge of coronavirus.
Challenging times require tough decisions and implementing it in letter and spirit. The resolve to break the chain of transmission of coronavirus came to the fore with quick action by the Ministry of Health, Home Affairs and various agencies. Government started monitoring COVID-related issues in all the states, including containment, surveillance and testing. House-to-house surveillance and testings were carried out vigorously as per protocol. Arogya Setu app was launched to track corona cases. Public awareness was enhanced with the emphasis on jab tak dawai nahi, tab tak dhilai nahi, with mandatory 3 simple steps. Use of mask, 2 gaj की दूरी है जरूरी and frequent hand washing. All educational institutions, stadiums and sports clubs, restaurants were closed. State government set a cap on the number of guests allowed to wedding function and also cremation. Over 4,450 Shramik specials ferried over 60 lakh migrants home. The Indian Railways has started running Shramik special trains from May 1st to transport the stranded migrant workers, students, pilgrims and tourists across the country during the nationwide lockdown. Vande Bharat mission and Samudra Setu operation brought back lakhs of stranded Indian nationals from abroad. Government announced contingency measures for the migrant workers. Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana, health insurance facilities for COVID, to name a few, went a long way in addressing the concerns of the citizens. The domestic and household industry engaged in making masks, sanitizers, PP kits, testing kits, immunity boosting Ayurvedic recipes got a shot in the arm. A push to vaccine manufacturers saw to it that today 3 Indian candidate vaccines are in the reckoning, and India today is in a far better position than many developed countries of the world. Saubhagyakar, Air News, Delhi.
Air India has said that for passengers who are unable to reach the airport due to possible disturbance tomorrow, no-show charges will be waived and one free date change allowed for those with confirmed tickets from any Indian airport. It has requested passengers to keep sufficient time in hand for the journey to the airport. Armed Forces Flag Day is being observed today. The day is observed every year on this day since 1949 to honor the soldiers, sailors and airmen of the country. Citizens can contribute generously to the cause of supporting the valiant men in uniform defending our borders by visiting the website ksb.gov.in. On the occasion, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar thanked the country's armed forces for the service and urged people to donate generously towards the welfare of their families. Polling concluded peacefully for the 4th phase of District Development Council DDC elections in Jammu and Kashmir this afternoon. Voting took place in 34 DDC constituencies in this phase. Out of these constituencies, 17 were in Kashmir Valley and 17 in Jammu Division. 50.08% voter turnout was recorded in this phase. Addressing a press conference in Jammu this evening, State Election Commissioner K.K. Sharma said voter turnout was 69.31% in Jammu and in Kashmir, 31.95% polling was recorded. The first ever DDC polls are being held in the Union Territory in 8 phases. More from our Jammu correspondent.
Poonch district topped the list with impressive voter turnout of 75.42%, followed by Doda district with 75.03%. The lowest turnout in Jammu division was in Udhampur district, which recorded 59.90%. In Kashmir Valley, Gandarbal district recorded highest polling at 56.28%, followed by Baramulla district at 47.43% and Bandipora with around 45% polling in the 4th phase of elections. With today's polling, the fate of 249 candidates has been sealed in the ballot boxes. R.K. Rana, AR News, Jammu.
In Assam, voting for the first phase of Bodoland Territorial Council BTC polls in 21 seats also concluded this evening. 75.21% voter turnout was reported when reports last came in. However, sources in the Assam State Election Commission said that the final polling percentage will be declared later. The polling was conducted in a peaceful manner. Counting of votes will be held on 12th of this month. More from our Guwahati correspondent.
The political fate of 103 candidates, including from Bodoland People's Front, BJP, UPPL, AIUDF and Congress are sealed in ballot box. After the end of the first phase, now focus has been shifted to Kokrajhar and Udalguri districts. The second phase of polling will be held on Thursday in 19 seats. The campaigning for the second phase will come to a close tomorrow. Senior BJP leader and Chief Minister Sarvana Sonowal held several rallies candidates today at Chirang and Kokrajhar districts. Other political parties are also making last efforts to attract the voters. Manas Pratim Sharma, AR News, Guwahati.
Amid the COVID pandemic, Kerala is all geared up for local body elections as its first phase of polling begins tomorrow. Our Thiruvananthapuram correspondent reports that voting will begin at 7 a.m. and will continue till 6 in the evening.
Thiruvananthapuram, Kollam, Pathanamthitta, Alappuzha, Idukki are the 5 districts where the first phase of local body polls are scheduled tomorrow. A total of 24,584 candidates are contesting for 6,813 wards during the first phase. 11,225 polling stations are set across the 5 districts. A strong triangular contest is witnessed in all the constituencies from among the Kerala's 3 principal political coalitions, the CPM-led LDF, Congress-led UDF and BJP-led NDA. The second phase and third polling will be held consecutively on the 10th and 14th of this month. The entire election process will be held adhering to strict COVID guidelines. Mayush Shah for AR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will give the inaugural address at the virtual India Mobile Congress IMC 2020 tomorrow. IMC 2020 is being organized by the Department of Telecommunications and the Cellular Operators Association of India. It will be held from tomorrow till the 10th of this month. Key domestic indices today extended the rally from record levels to hit fresh lifetime highs, a report from the business world.
The Sensex climbed 347 points to settle at 45,427. The NSE Nifty 50 index also surged 97 points to settle at 13,356. In the forex market, the rupee depreciated 11 paise and settled at 73 rupees and 90 paise against the US dollar. And in intraday deals, Brent crude prices were trading around $48.70 per barrel, while WTI crude prices were around $45.70 per barrel. V. Ravi Kumar for AIR News.
China's exports to India continue to decline with a 13% drop in the first 11 months of the year, customs data showed today. However, China's imports from India rose by 16% during this period. According to customs data released today, China exported about $59 billion worth of products to India from January to November, down 13%. The decline slightly reduced from the 16.2% drop in the first 10 months this year, state media showed. China's imports from India amounted to about $19 billion in value in the first 11 months, up 16%. Sports Minister Kiren Rijiju has launched the second edition of Fit India Cyclothon via social media. The mega cycling event, which started today, will run for 25 days till 31st of December.
In cricket, India will take on hosts Australia in the third and final 2020 match in Sydney tomorrow. The match will begin at 1:40 p.m. The men in blue have already clinched the series 2-0. Yesterday, India defeated Australia by 6 wickets in the second 2020 match at Sydney. The ball-by-ball commentary of tomorrow's match will be broadcast on FM Rainbow, Rajdhani, PB, YouTube and other channels of All India Radio Delhi. It can be heard from 1:15 p.m. till the end of the match. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar has congratulated Rajgir Zoo Safari at Nalanda and Shaheed Ashfaqul Ullah Khan Prani Udyan in Gorakhpur. The minister approved the recognition in the Central Zoo Authority meeting today. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital will experience very dense fog with temperature varying between 11 and 27 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. Temperature will vary between 27 and 31 degrees Celsius. Chennai will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Temperature will hover between 22 and 30 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will witness fog or mist in the morning and mainly clear sky later. The city will observe minimum temperature of 18 degrees Celsius and the maximum of 29 degrees. Srinagar will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Temperature will hover between 0 to 3 degrees Celsius. In Jammu, minimum temperature will be 12 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be 20 degrees. The city will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Leh will experience rain or snow. The minimum temperature will be minus 4 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be 2 degrees. Gilgit will have rain or snow with temperature hovering between 1 degree Celsius to 10 degrees. Muzaffarabad will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Temperature will move from 12 to 23 degrees Celsius. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad says protests by opposition leaders to score political mileage expose their double standards. Efforts are on to attract investments from across the globe to improve country's infrastructure, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Number of active COVID-19 cases declines to less than 4 lakh after 140 days. Serum Institute of India applies for emergency approval of Made in India COVID vaccine. Over 50% voter turnout recorded in the 4th phase of District Development Council elections in Jammu and Kashmir, And in cricket, India to take on hosts Australia in the third and final 2020 match in Sydney tomorrow. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.